This project is a cottage in Delray Beach. We were brought onto this project because of our expertise in historic preservation. We primarily work in West Palm Beach and Palm Beach, but we were sought out for this project in particular because of the challenges that it presented at the time that we started on the project. So one of the challenges that was present at the onset of the project was that the cottage was extremely fire damaged. And this cottage is in Nassau Park Historic District. So that was our first challenge. The second challenge that we had to deal with was the finished floor elevation of the historic house. So we needed to raise the property up. This property is surrounded by other cottages of a similar era for development in Delray. And so it was really important to us to take into consideration the adjacent properties and the context of the city. So looking at criteria, compatibility, including the Secretary of Interior standards for what is and isn't appropriate for these historic structures. So we were really looking at the rhythm of the street and what made sense for the rhythm of the street, and then also taking into consideration what the owners, Chuck and Katie, wanted for this house. So they were putting a lot of resources into it. They have a family and there are needs that we needed to accommodate with that. And I think one of the points of historic preservation that a lot of people don't understand is that historic preservation actually accommodates these changes that we need to accommodate modern living, and then just understanding what changes can actually take place within the structure. So we worked very closely with the preservation planners for the city of Delray. We worked with Michelle and Katharina to establish what was and wasn't appropriate for this house. Whenever we work with a historic structure, we take into consideration the hierarchy of importance and then also character defining features. So for this cottage that we worked on, which is on Nassau Street, we knew that the siding was one of the character defining features that had actually been compromised in the fire. There was vinyl siding that had been put on, and during the fire, you could see actually the original siding was beyond that. So we restored that feature. We also had character defining features with the chimney, and then some character defining features that are on the side of the house that are a little bit harder to see. There was also some brick detailing that was important to us to keep for this house. So we worked to restore the elements where we could, and then when we did the addition, which is actually a 2-story addition for this house, we put it at the very rear of the property. So we pushed the mass of that all the way to the back of the property, so that when you look at the house, when you look at it from the street, you actually don't see that 2-story mass at all. So the rhythm of the street, the mass, the solids to voids, all of that didn't change in your perception of this house between us raising it and then also the addition that we did at the rear. I think that Delray has been very successful with the districts that you have in place, because you're getting really that neighborhood context and the development of a street or a district all at once, and you understand the development and the context and how that was developed. If it was one builder that came in or a particular style that was prevalent at the time. And I think that's part of what makes Nassau Street extremely quaint, is because you have that differentiation of this cottage style that was prevalent during that era.